The Nothing Phone 3 is kind of a weird phone. It's a sort of flagship, but also sort of a premium mid range phone. The design is kind of odd, with a unique camera structure on the back and a nifty little glyph display. And to go along with those oddities is a screen that's also kind of weird. Unlike most flagship phones, this one uses an LTPS OLED panel, not an LTPO one, which means it moves between 60, 90, and 120 Hz, depending on the needs of the app. You may have also heard that Nothing nerfed the PWM rate on the phone after launch, but in my testing, I've found out that this is only half true. When I first got the phone, it had Nothing OS 3.0 on it and used DC dimming above 50% brightness, then switched to 1100 Hz PWM dimming below that. That's the lowest rate we've seen on a Nothing phone in quite some time. The phone pretty quickly starts widening those pulses below 40% brightness though, and even at just 25% brightness, already exhibited a mostly off cycle. Even at this PWM rate, this is a pretty strongly strobing display. So then I updated the phone to Nothing OS 4.0, and sure enough, the PWM rate changed to 990 Hz at low brightness instead of 1100 Hz. Obviously a disappointing change, but then I started going through each refresh rate and realized something really weird. You might notice it here when I touch the screen, and it switches between 60 and 90 Hz. Yep, not only is the PWM rate different at 90 Hz, but the modulation during the DC dimming phase is also noticeably different too. It's a little hard to tell on the graph for some reason, but I can see it in the lines using a 1/6400th shutter video, and the chart also corroborates what my eyes and the camera are picking up. What's interesting is that 60 and 120 Hz share the same PWM frequency and modulation rates, so locking it to 60 Hz doesn't do anything positive. I've never found a setting on Nothing phones to specify the refresh rate of each app, like some other OEMs offer, so unless someone knows a clever ADB command that will lock apps at 90 Hz, I'm not sure there's any way to achieve this phone's best dimming rates on a consistent basis. That's a shame too, because the results at 90 Hz are at least better than anything Google, Samsung, or Apple offer, but without a way to lock the refresh rate, it's kind of a moot point. Feel free to drop me a comment if you have any ideas here. The display even hits those ludicrous peak brightness rates of flagship phones with a 3000 nit output on an HDR video, so it's clear Nothing was aiming for specific specs on this phone's display that would match the big three on paper. Even if you were able to get 90 Hz locked though, I'm not sure I would necessarily recommend running this one on low brightness, as that flicker rate is pretty high. As far as dithering is concerned, this display appears to be a true 10-bit panel, as I did not find any evidence of dithering on all the usual sources. For note, that's around the edges of text and icons, which would indicate temporal font smoothing of some kind, various gradients, and on an HDR10 video when it's paused. I picked up quite a bit of dithering on the Nothing Phone 4a, which I'll have a separate video on shortly, so I'm confident that this is something happening only on that phone, and that the Nothing Phone 3 can be considered dither-free, even on the latest Nothing OS 4.1 update. Overall, this display isn't terrible, but OnePlus offers much better options at this price point, and both the OnePlus 15 and 15R offer more eye-friendly displays with specs you'll probably like better too. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you do, please drop me a like and comment. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my work. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.